Hello, everyone. This is Michelle, and I'm here to do your February 2022 astrological reading. This is for all the signs. And so we are looking at major themes that can be affecting all of our natal charts. And boy, does the plot thicken from month to month. It's very interesting to follow, going back to when I started these a few months ago and seeing how the skies are reflecting the current times we're in and providing some advice for us. So let's go ahead and get started. We're really, this month, wow, what's really standing out is Jupiter. Jupiter is standing out for us, and sextiles. Opportunity, it just seems to be the name of the game this month. Okay, so starting out with Jupiter, we have Jupiter at 7 degrees here in Pisces. All right, in Pisces, sextiling Uranus in Taurus. All right, let's go ahead and for fun, let's put our first line in. Okay, I am going to draw in some aspect lines this month, and that's the funnest part, right? So let's take a look at this first sextile. There it is. All right, it's a 60-degree aspect. 60 degrees, and so that represents opportunity, and this is something that we're looking at all month long. So something else that we want to note, first of all, is that Jupiter is in rulership. Okay, so let's take that note down. Jupiter is very strong in this position, and because we are looking at Pisces and we're looking at Uranus, these two things together, this is really talking about, I have to say, innovation. Okay, innovation is coming through very strongly. Experimentation. Now, we talked about this a few months ago when we were focusing on Uranus, but it's coming back up again. Trying something new. Trying something new is emphasized here, and breakthroughs. All right, breakthroughs. So we want to look at our charts and think about where is Pisces in the chart? What area of your natal chart? What area is Taurus in? Even without your natal chart, though, you might still know, just kind of off the bat, like, I have been thinking about maybe this is an area of life where I need to experiment and try something new. There are opportunities there. Now, let's continue on with this Jupiter and this sextile idea, because Jupiter at 7 degrees of Pisces at the beginning of the month is also sextiling Mars and Venus. All right, we get to draw another line in. Okay, this is right at the beginning of the month. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw another line in. You could, if you printed out your own chart, of course, you could even make connections, not only, of course, to the general signs, but are there particular planets or personal points in your chart that are hitting any of these areas or these degrees that I'm mentioning? Because in that case, you might feel this even more strongly. Okay, now here's our second important note, and that is that Mars in Capricorn is exalted. All right, this means that Mars is in a very strong and powerful position to do good. And it is making a connection to Jupiter, which is, of course, a benefic. This is the planet of luck and expansion and joy and happiness. Also, Venus, the other benefic, the other planet that brings good things into life, is also involved here. So we are looking at expansion. And we are looking at growth. expansion and growth in a very positive fashion. Now, even though this can be in any area of your chart, looking at the signs that are involved, I feel for a lot of us, this is going to have to do with career. So no matter where Capricorn is in the chart, there can be a career connection. There can also be an income stream connection. We could even broaden this out and say that there are very positive opportunities potentially in February that even has to do just with way of life. What is the general structure of life? How are things going for you? Because there can be expansion and growth in your way of life in a very positive sense. Also, partnerships. All right, so it might be in partnerships. I am picking up also there can be a real uplift emotionally or potentially with health. Those are two other areas where there's going to be an uplift. Okay, so really happy to see that. I know that some of us can really use that right now. The trick of it is with these sextiles, all right, is that the chart is calling on us to put some energy into this. And so it's not kind of a sit back and relax and it will happen to you kind of chart. We need to put some energy into it, but the very positive thing here is with Mars exalted, we can put energy into making these improvements. We can do this now in February. This chart really is all about taking action on dreams. Okay, this is a very important note. All right, 2 check marks here. Okay, perhaps maybe even the most important message coming out of this chart is taking action on dreams. Taking action on dreams feels good. It feels good. All right, it feels good to do this. So it's time for both. It's time to dream, but it's also time to take action on those dreams. For some of us, if we have been in a little bit of a funk of late, as I know, some of us have, with all the conditions that are going on, this chart has a beautiful message, which is, to just get up and take some action on your dreams, whatever they are. And it's just going to help us to feel so much better. All right, now with this first aspect that we looked at with Jupiter and Uranus, this was all month. Okay, this is all month. And with the second aspect and this sextile with Mars and Venus, all right, we are looking at primarily the first week is going to be very, very strong. All right, so really, really good news. All right, now also we're kind of moving along here, moving ahead in the month for the first 2 weeks. Let's take a look again at Venus and Mars in Capricorn. Okay, so this is all in Capricorn. Trining, making a beautiful trine to Uranus. Okay, it's time for a line. Time for a line. Let's go ahead and do another line. To around 10 degrees here or so. That's going to do the trick. All right, there we go. We have another line. Wow, this is really looking pretty, I have to say. As an astrologer, I mean, it makes me happy to see it. This is telling me with this trine, there's a flow, right? There's a flow of energy. We have Mars involved again, that exalted Mars, Venus. This is telling me again, it's really a repeat of the previous message. It's a double whammy. So again, it's time for action. All right, with Mars involved, it is time for action. And very importantly, this is a time when we can have the power to overcome inertia. All right, so if you've had some days where you felt like, I just can't get things going. It's very hard to get things rolling and to build momentum. This aspect, I think, is very good for once you get things going, once you start building that momentum, there is going to be some flow. All right. Now, let me mention something else for some of us. And so I'm going to say to, take a look at your natal chart. Where is Capricorn in your natal chart? Where is Taurus? Do you have planets or personal points such as an ascendant or a midheaven? Perhaps the vertex, okay, for this next interpretation. Do you have any of those types of things hitting these degrees very close to it? Because for some of us in February, there's a possibility of either some, I want to say, unusual or passionate or stimulating relationships to come up. All right, so we're talking about, let's write that one down. We want to remember that note. That's going to be unusual, passionate, okay, passionate, or stimulating relationships. Okay, especially with Venus involved here and with Uranus. These relationships might come up suddenly. That's possible. It could even be something short-lived. That's possible, but something that just comes in. It's very passionate. It's different. It's stimulating. And so we can be looking for that in the first 2 weeks. All right, let's take a look at this new moon, which is really very interesting because it's at 12 degrees of Aquarius right on the 1st of the month. So just prior to me putting up this reading, we have this beautiful new moon. All right, so this is really talking about new beginnings. I do feel I'm going to preface that I feel that some of us, again, can feel somewhat isolated or cut off from people. And I am picking that up from the new moon in Aquarius because Aquarius can be somewhat detached. It may not be actually a bad thing. Let me put it that way. It might work out positively. It might even feel like I just need to get away for some people. But also we have this connection to Saturn. So the new moon will be conjunct Saturn. And this is another suggestion to me that for some of us, we might feel a little bit removed from people or isolated even. However, let's note that Saturn is in rulership. I'm really kind of emphasizing these things about, rulership and exaltation because this gives us a chance to look at the aspect in a positive light, that the planet is operating in the most positive fashion. And so even if we are removed from people in some way, again with Aquarius, we are doubling down on this idea of, again, also write it down again, right? Innovation. What can I try in my life new, right? How can I experiment? What can I try that's different? especially if it seems like there are areas in life that things really aren't working out exactly as you would like. If you're not satisfied in certain areas of life, or if things feel stuck or stale, what can I try that's new? And you might find that involves Aquarius in your chart. All right, it can involve Aquarius in your chart. I also think this is going to be very good for problem solving. Okay, very good for problem solving. The whole chart really is lovely for this. We can not only find solutions, but if they don't work, we will try and try again in February. Okay, so very good to see. We will try and try again. We will find a way. We will find a way. So very positive. We are putting energy into areas of life that have to do with career or income stream, perhaps new partnerships, areas of life where things have been stuck or stale or not moving. It's a time for action. And once we get going with things, it's going to be much, much easier to continue on. All right, so all of this is coming out of the new moon, as well as Jupiter and these other aspects. Now let's talk a little bit. We just have two more aspects we're going to look at. Let's talk a little bit again about Venus and Mars in Capricorn and sextiling Neptune in Pisces. This is the last week of the month. All right, so let's see if we can put another line in to situate ourselves. And as I'm doing this, it's also an opportunity to find it in your own chart, right? So where is this happening in your own natal chart? Even if you come back, let's say, and watch this, even let's say a second time. Now we are looking at late degrees because, of course, Venus and Mars are moving ahead in the zodiac. And so by the time we get to around 20 to 24 degrees here, okay, let's just put it in. I'm going to connect it to, I'm going to put it in about, well, let's see, about right here. Okay, let's just go about right here. I think that will make sense. We even have Mercury involved at the beginning of the month with this aspect. And you'll see now what I was talking about at the very beginning, and it's this emphasis on these sextiles, right? So the chart definitely has a specific message, right, with these sextiles. All right, here we go. Here's another one. Sextile, sextile. Here's the third one. All right, so very clear. Lots of opportunity, and also with the trine, the concept of flow. All right, this is really, really beautiful to see. At the end of the month, it is almost as though the chart is coming back again. It's coming back to the earlier message with Jupiter. Only this time we have a little twist on it. We have the twist of Neptune. Now, Jupiter and Neptune are both, well, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and Neptune is the modern ruler. All right, so we could say that Neptune is the ruler of Pisces as well, or perhaps a traditional astrologer would prefer to say Neptune has an affinity with Pisces. So it's still a Pisces type of message. However, we're getting more of the Neptunian twist on it. Oh boy, this is beautiful. Again, just another favorite part for me of this chart. And it is seeing this. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to dream. What is it that you want for life? spend some time just letting it go, not putting limitations around your imagination, right? Because the chart is saying we are only limited by our imagination. We are only limited by our imagination. Let visions flow. Okay, let visions just flow. See where it takes you. See what kind of lifestyle, work, family life, environment, what sort of life would you like to create for yourself? And just let it flow. Even pretend. You might just pretend, okay, there's no limitations. What do I want it to look like? And this is going to really, I think, be uplifting for our spirits and get us headed in a positive direction. All right, now, I saved it for the end, but I do have to bring it up, and it's important. And it's the monkey wrench in the chart, right? We have to have one at least, okay? I'm sure there's a few more, but these are the ones I'm focusing on. It's the monkey wrench in the chart. Now, I have covered Saturn and Uranus in some of the earlier readings that I did, but it's coming up again, and so we're going to talk about this a little bit. It can put a little damper on things as well, and so we want to be aware of it. And from month to month, as I will come back to Saturn and Uranus, the interpretation might change a little bit. There are many things that the planets and the signs represent. But this is currently what I am picking up from the Saturn square to Uranus. First of all, these planets will be squaring one another pretty much for the whole year, all right? But one thing that I am looking at is that, well, okay, again, let's get back to that idea of modern rulership and ancient rulership. Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius, and Saturn does well in Aquarius. So we're happy about that. We've talked about that. We can take advantage of that. We can be very disciplined in the area of the chart where Aquarius is, okay, whatever that has to do with, whether it's career or something you want to improve with relationships, or perhaps you want to get into some kind of creative work. It might have to do with communication or finances. Wherever that is, we can be very disciplined in that area. That's very positive. Now, the modern ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. We know this. And so there is a way in which Uranus and Saturn are working well together. I feel that although Uranus is in a fixed sign, so there's some tension there, Uranus wants us to break out of rigid thought forms. That's one of the, I'll just say, fundamental processes that we deal with when Uranus is transiting an area of our chart. But it's also coming through just as an overall general message when we're looking at Saturn here and thinking about Uranus also being the modern ruler of this sign. So one thing that's coming through is Uranus wants us to, let's just take a note here, break out of rigid thought forms. This really does relate also to, this idea about letting ourselves dream. The thing is, then, we have, though, also Saturn trying to keep the core intact. And that's not necessarily a bad thing either. Not everything is going to break apart. The core remains intact. But what I am seeing also is a way in which if we are very fixed in our positions, opinions, and thinking, that there's going to be more conflict and tension. All right, so let's take a note about that one. It's fixed positions. Fixed positions, and that includes opinions and thinking, leads to a lot of conflict and tension. We are really seeing this in the world today, right? People are really digging their heels in about their opinions. This is kind of a broad, I want to say, interpretation about society at large at this point, but you can also see it in your own personal life, perhaps. I feel very much that there is a need now for us to listen to one another in order to solve problems and move forward. All right, so I don't think that's happening entirely, or that process isn't flowing currently. I feel that there is a need to listen. This is also really very clearly indicated by this new moon in Aquarius. A need to listen in order to move forward and make progress. All right, and so that might be something to think about personally, especially in these areas where we have the fixed signs. Fixed, this is fixed Aquarius, fixed Taurus. This might also pertain to you, particularly if you have a lot going on in Leo or Scorpio. All right, and so let's just, in review, let's just go over now in review. Beautiful, beautiful chart with all of this Jupiter sextile energy. It's about taking action now. This is going to get the momentum flowing, and things are going to feel easier. It's really going to uplift our spirits to take action on dreams. It's going to feel good. And we are going to be able to solve problems with this new moon. This is it's indicative of the entire month. But the idea is, of course, right, innovation and experimentation are going to be important. So to try some new things, try and try again, right? It's fine if something doesn't work out. It's a sign of progress, all right? And so it's fine if something isn't going exactly right the first time. We just continue on, right? Okay, and now we have, towards the end of the month, this emphasis on just allowing yourself to dream, allowing yourself to dream big, let your imagination flow. And if there is something really kind of stuck in life, and if it has to do with communication, then I think it is going to help us to listen to one another, and that is going to get things flowing in a positive direction. The overall message coming in, it's about making it happen. All right, it's about making it happen through imagination, innovation, and action. The time is now. A beautiful chart. I'm wishing you all just many wonderful opportunities and a beautiful, beautiful February 2022. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.